Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about any Gary cons.
Exactly. We got it. We got it all. You know, we got it set. We got all.
What do you think Luke is kind of getting?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I know.
I wonder how much in control he actually is about this.
I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. I'm not sure what the direction is, what's going on. I'm just along with for the ride at this point. We got all of our events in. There's the initial sign-ups for like the top badges has already started, and so like Carlos's game already filled up. So you know, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm ready. I got my books for all my wonderful NPCs that I love in canon here. So
yeah, it's good because it is not one of my strong suit, but I really.
Oh, you got all your Gord people though, don't you?
Oh yeah, and I have some ideas on how I usually do it in my campaigns and stuff. So that can fill something, and it's in Greyhawk. I can babble. So it's good. Yeah. This is one of the topics I like to talk about and want to talk about, but I'm not really sure what I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my lot of my references that I can go to here. You know, from the Ashes and Greyhawk, the City Greyhawk box set. Great stuff. So that's where I'll be pulling for a lot of them. What's up there, Patrick? Can you hear me? Yeah, well, that's good. That's a good sign. Second time. Oh, I made it. I'm always thinking that I always forgot something. I forgot to do something at the last second, but it looks like I'm good. So let me just take the tonight down off that for now. Do that. Hey Megan, good to see you. I'm loud. I'm a wee bit loud, really?
Okay. Am I okay?
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Hopefully you're not that much louder than me. So
yeah. Let me. Anna's not really saying anything. That's probably why.
I need to say something. Okay, so then that might be, and I'm almost eating up my microphone, so it's not far away. So so can you adjust us individually?
I don't know. I mean, I can try. So.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Casual. Good to see you. Getting started here, and the blue box will be finishing any minute. So, what's up, Dorgrim? We'll have another good one here. Well, I'm trying to think of what button I need to hit next, and I'm always like, what button do I hit next? There we go. We're waiting for Mike. Mic check. There. Kenny, how do I sound now? Do I sound better?
Okay, let's see. See if I talk here for a bit to see what they say. They can hear me.
Good. Awesome. So here's some good news. Gamescape 3D, and it won't be till the end of the summer, is going to have a new Kickstarter come out with some awesome stuff. Now that one's going to be not till probably July or August, but I was talking to Jeremy, who owns Gamescape 3D today, and he is excited about all the content he's going to bring in that Kickstarter, like cliff roads and cliff faces and unbelievable stuff. So I'm excited about that. Plus we got the Infinite, well, we'll talk about them in a second here. So let me see. Whoops, hit the wrong button. J. See, I did it. I hit the wrong button. Oh my God! There we go. I hit the wrong. I was trying to do a shout out and I hit the wrong button. I was trying to do a Reaper shout out there. Oh, it always happens. I do it once a show. So. Just put it right there. If we're a little behind, there you go. We're good. We're a little early still. Oh, here comes Mike. Oh, you got hold today too? Wow, Patrick, that's great because I heard Dicker's got it too. That's awesome. You got my holes. That's so awesome. That's great to hear. What's up, Mike? Hey, Jim. Check out Gamescape 3D there, please. Thank you very much. And hit that next. I'm told in about 3 weeks, Jim, how you doing, man? I'm told in about 3 weeks this Kickstarter material will hit, and then our 3D printer will be going non-stop for 2 months to get this stuff printed. Yeah, so we're thinking about getting one before that, another one, but working on that. We'll see.
You need a separate computer for that one, don't you?
No, you can actually put them on the same PC. So,
okay, so the computer is not being overloaded that much then.
Yeah, and plus it's going to be on Bill's, so it's not going to be on anything I'm using my streaming or anything like that. It's at Bill's house. So, oh, good to hear. Wow, Coma, you got them. Coma, I put down your foot. I put Coma down first and last name. So. Yeah, aren't they, man? Aren't they, Campbell? Hey, Blue Box. Thanks. Thank you. Hope you had a great show for what I caught. So, thank you very much. Awesome. We may, with Row subbing, we may get a pre-hype train here if we're lucky. What's up, Bill? Bill, we're just talking about, you know, when this hits, how how wonderful that's going to be. So, oh, it was good, man. It was good. I turned 54 on Monday. Thank you very much. Got my COVID shot, the first shot that day. It was wonderful. So, it was awesome.
Thank you, Taborius Knight. 32 months. Wow.
32. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And the second one, Rocinante. Rocinante! You do? Oh, that's cool, man. And age is a concept anyway. But I'm glad everyone's getting all of their part of the holes and all the. Hey, what's up, Naz? Now there is our longest non-initial friend relative subscriber, the Naz. Tim, what are you at? You at 31 now, and this will be 32 coming up for you? I think it is. So, thank you, Phantom, for the resub. Ro, GR, everyone. I'll hop in as many as I can into the chat ticker in a second. What's up, Fairley? I know we're a little early still. 31 months, yeah. That's awesome, man. got a great topic tonight. It's going to be a fun discussion.
Yeah, what's the topic?
Yes, we'll talk about that real quick. As I had to scramble. We all had to scramble. So.
Yeah, that was a last minute decision. Yeah, executive decision by Jay, and I'm like.
Yeah, I just had to run with it at that point because Gary had something come up, and we had a really great show we were going to do, but we're having that in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So. Everyone's whispering me or telling me that stuff is coming today. Like, that's awesome. Great to hear. So can anyone in chat name the picture of the 4 individuals that are up right now as we're talking about personalities and NPCs? I want to see how good you all are. Type it into your chat. Start at the upper left and go clockwise around to the one that's the miniature. Can anyone get all 4? Oh, come on. These are all iconic. Mike, you got all 4?
I don't know what the upper right one is.
Upper right, okay. That's a tough one.
The mini is a guess.
The mini was actually made. Yeah, the mini is like an awesome one because it was. I was shocked when I found it. It's an old D&D mini that they made.
Yeah, but I think I can guess that one. And, yeah.
Well, all right. So Statler, I want you to sit tight. I'm gonna do a shout out for Gavin, and you're gonna be very happy. This is Sunday night show. You want to see it? What? Creating custom Greyhawk content with Carlos Lysing Sunday night. You don't want to miss that show. We're gonna go over the placement of all his modules. So that'll be great for you. Hey, Mr. Joe. Oh, thanks, Patrick.
I suggested that this show as a replacement. Already had that Sundays.
We got a lot of great stuff going on. So all right, I'm gonna tell you what they all are. You ready? So upper left is Robbler, right? So Robbler. Oh, cool. Good, Statler. Good to hear. Upper right is Vane. Lower right, Mike. That's obvious, right? Drellsden. Yeah, and I haven't done the drawing yet. Set up. Oh my gosh, Rich and Casey are like the first two that always have been. And lower left. What do you think that is?
I think it's Lareth the Beautiful.
It is Lareth the Beautiful. Good job.
Right. Yep.
Wonderful job as we come on here. We're 3 minutes early tonight. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba, and I got with me, as usual, the wonderful blogger, the legend himself, Greyhawk Mike, and also my partner in crime and the fantastic map maker, Anna Meyer. And note that this one tonight, we had to scramble a bit, and it's no one's fault, but... Gary whispers me on my birthday. I had a family commitment that came up Wednesday. What can we do? I was like, well, let's see. Next Wednesday's already booked, so I'll push it out 2 weeks. But you got any ideas? And he's like, oh, why don't you do something on personalities and NPCs? I'm like, that's a good one. That's quick, and I know we can handle that. I was thinking we were going to do mountain ranges, but I'm like, that's too much research to start off for me. So, thank you. And thank you, Blue Box, for coming in on that raid. Let me give you a shout out there. Thank you, John and crew, as we're getting, like I said, we're not even supposed to be on. We're 3 minutes early, so we got a nice crowd as everyone's coming on here.
I was scrambling to get back. You started early. I was at a kids soccer game and just racing to get back.
You were at a kids soccer game. And I was at dropping my kid off to soccer, And so I wanted to catch John's show beforehand because Tim was on talking about critical hits. So I wanted that to happen, but then I couldn't, time is everything here. So very nice on the hype train to start off. Thank you so very much, everyone.
Yeah.
That was really generous of you all.
We won 5-0 all around.
Well, that's good.
Yep, we have a campaign going here.
Do you have a mercy rule?
I don't know. That's first game I ever gone to that we scored that much.
Oh, very,
Usually
very
we
cool.
lose.
That's awesome. Patrick's cranking it up here. So tonight we're going to do what we normally do, and that is when we have one of these, we're going to take suggestions from the audience and we're going to round table it. That's a great way to do these and start.
See where it goes.
We did a villains one. I looked back and it was number 40. So that's 50 episodes ago. That's like a year ago. We did one on villains, but this time we're going to keep it on personalities and NPCs and not necessarily villains. And just talk about a bunch of them in Greyhawk, that would be the best thing. Anna, I know you said you like listening more than sometimes discussing in this one, but you are like the Gord novel expert for this one, I think. What do you say to that?
Mike has the Gord too, but also because, and now I'm going to dive deeper into it, is that I don't use, because most of the NPCs from modules and books and stuff, I put them as iconic. It's a bit like Star Wars. I don't want to run the games that is already made there, so to speak. I make my own content, filling in the gaps and below that level. So they rarely get to interact with NPCs. So far in my campaign, with 6 sessions in, there is only one NPC that is mentioned in canon that I've introduced. And yeah, that's Vakunis is the only one.
And he's from Eyes the Evil, isn't he?
Yeah,
right there. That publication that's up. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, very, very cool. It's awesome. No, it's not good old Elminster, who I am working on with Eric Mengi to get him back on a show. By the way, everyone. So you will see that. And by the way, so. Once again, Jay messed up, and it's not Troller Games and Mike Nizzi tonight. It's Troller Games and Kobold Press. Okay, $25 gift certificates for those two. It's always something. It's so many different things to switch in Streamlabs and all this. So we're going to do two $25 gift certificates tonight. One and the first person who wins gets the choice of the two. Out of all the worlds I played on Earth was the least. My only character stuff was, you know what? But that's okay. And if you have, that's okay, because this is a good. What we do in Legends and Lore is teach, right, Mike? We try and, like your blog does, we try and throw out information and do some storytelling.
It's all tied together.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I never actually played Spelljammer. I was more of a Planescape person. But I can respect anyone who played Spelljammer, because I think that does open you up to all those other game worlds mentioned.
Yeah, it's a great flavor of D&D Spelljammer.
Just trying to get caught up here. We know that All Dragon runs Spelljammer, right? There, Big Mac's on, and he runs that on Saturdays, and he has connections all over the place, which is neat, and that's a cool thing. And note that there are. You have your Greyhawk streamers, you got your Forgotten Realms streamers, you have like Will's doing Greyhawk and Kryn, right? He's got a Kryn game on Friday night. So there's a community here, and not everyone just streams Greyhawk. Like John, who he streams a Pathfinder Rise of the Rune Lords campaign on Sundays. So you have groups from all over doing different content, and that's a wonderful thing. So all right. So where do you start, and how do you decide? And we're going to go with like some big names and some small names and some out of the way names.
I tried to avoid. I made myself a little cribbed list of names.
Awesome.
And I tried to avoid villains and wizards. I mean, a couple villains might have snuck in there, but I tried to avoid wizards because I feel there's too many wizards. Not that I discourage you two from bringing up wizards.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to challenge myself.
Okay.
There's a
That's
lot
cool.
of wizards.
Right. For
And
me,
I think the other classes need some love.
hey, what's up there, Dale? All right, so here's what I did. I took my favorite publications, and everyone knows that my Free City Grout box set's my favorite. It's chock full of people.
Yeah, that's my favorite
Yep.
place to go to.
Yeah, this is, and then I is the Evil, Marklands, Slavers. Even this has some good people, right? The Jim Ward,
Yeah.
and we talking about Jim Ward being the first Monty Hall DM ever. Well, there's his book, Greyhawk Adventures. There's a lot of locations and places, and I brought this up, but it may burn me and horribly scar me for the rest of my life. I even brought this upstairs. So Scarlet
Jeez.
Brotherhood book.
Yeah.
So Eyes the Evil is full of evil NPCs. Yes, it is, Casey, but it's not all evil NPCs. You need to look.
No. Exactly.
You need to look
Yep.
there. Now, Anna says she doesn't like using. She has used
I try
one.
to use them very sparingly
Yeah.
because I don't want to kind of see the whole campaigns just around, because then I need to mess with the original
Right.
stories, I feel like. So for me, they're there, but they're usually movers and shakers way beyond. So when the campaigns go towards the end, so to speak, that's when I want to usually come in to play with the kings and the master villains and the cult leaders and all the big wizards and stuff like that. So they're flying above campaigns for like 80% of the time. Now I wanted to make, and this is something that my players should not listen to, which means they will, but anyway. So Vakunis I introduced early on because I wanted at least one villain to come in early in the campaign. So that was part of seeding the plot, so to speak, because I wanted to introduce at least one villain early on. That was kind of a major villain, that one. So that is powerful enough that they will probably not kill him the first. They have no real chance of doing that. So that way I can kind of play it out. So we'll see. But there might be other NPCs that might kill Vakunis. I realize that now, so I might have put myself in trouble anyways. We'll see. Yeah.
And Vakunis is in. Now that you
Eyes
brought
the
him up,
Evil.
let's just start
Yeah.
with him. Why not? So he's in
Yeah.
Eyes the Evil, and he's in the back. And look,
Yeah.
this is how bad how much use these got.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Greg. 18
Yeah.
months, Greg. A year
Yeah.
and a half.
Whew.
And I think originally he was set in I Use the Evil to run admin for he's a demonologist.
It's on the back page.
He's like a conjurer. Yeah, a conjurer he's a demon summoner specialist, so to speak. So summon demons is his speciality. And he originally in the I Use the Evil, he was the one that was set to rule over Adminfort. But in my view, that failed, so to speak. So he was kind of a failure from the get-go.
Yeah.
So he then became the second guy under Wayne in Shieldland, so to speak, to conquer a lot of it. Then since my campaign is now 15 years after, set in 598-99, so it's now 15 years afterwards. But his initial failure was kind of, that meant that he didn't proceed up, so to speak. So he's still serving under Wayne, and they are now in charge of the part of Shieldland that is behind enemy, or inside, not close to the enemy lines, because that's where the more kind of war aggressive humanoids in Gensal have taken over that part. So Vakunis is now, he's serving under Wayne, and he's serving in the not very glorious role at all of being part of actually renting out territory to others and oversee them and stuff. So he's kind of gotten into a slump, so to speak, and he's kind of now, his career inside the Iusian Empire is not progressing very well, so to speak. So the others
Sounds like he could be bought out.
Exactly, he's been outmaneuvered a bit, so to speak. So that made him starting to be desperate, and he also now have a desperate boss that he kind of both fear and hate, because his boss is kind of getting lame and not getting anywhere, and getting kind of just sitting on his laurels and not doing much. So there's a lot of interesting openings in that way. But he's bringing in demons and stuff like that. And also when you had in a way, he was good that he didn't serve at the front lines when they had the Krukarau was around, because then it would have been kind of ineffective for a little bit. But now he can at least play his tricks and stuff now. So that he leaves a trace of demons and stuff behind him. So it's kind of, yeah. So that's part of the original plot a little bit. So yeah.
So Carlos says, "How come we always do all the good ones when he's at work?" Carlos, this was the last second change.
This is a good one.
We had
Yeah.
Gary Julian's Isle of Dread ready to go with handouts and everything,
Yeah.
and then Gary had to switch the date. So
Yep.
this was an ad hoc put together quick one. All right, I want to go. So someone asked, Harry Coyne asked Rennie, whatever, however you want to
Ooh.
pronounce them. So
Yeah,
I want to show you one that
Okay.
is so
Do we have-
fantastic in this book, and you know which one I'm talking about. They have what's called in this book in the back. This is the Folks, Feuds, and Factions of the Greyhawk box set, and they have Evil Nemesis ×3. These are 3-stage, the same character, and 3 different levels. So there's 3 people in here. There's Andrade Miras. He's a Nerolian priest. Okay, and then they have Varme Zendelai, the Cursed One. All right, and then the third one, Dimitri Valonis, it's Ambitious Rene, right there. So it starts him off at 24 years old, and then it goes to him as a young Rene Lord, and then version 3, Rene Tyrant. So you have him in 3 different levels in this book, and it has backstory on him. I've never used him. But
that's a good point.
Not sure if I have either.
I'm going to look at that because I might need a Rennie in my campaign. Not at the moment, but later on. So,
He's the one that gives them a bad name.
Really
Okay.
bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. But so that's why I brought that up because of the question there. But yeah, so there, and he goes from multi-class. Is he dual or multi? He's multi-class. Fighter Thief 4/4 all the way up to 9/13 Fighter Thief. So he must be part Elvish, or because this is 1E 2E, of course. In this,
Okay.
so yeah, it's not dual. It's not a dual class. Then he wouldn't be going up like that.
Well, on the other hand, NPCs doesn't always follow the rules of PCs.
That's
not
true.
Even back then, because there were various types
I'm
of
looking.
wizards and like demonologists and stuff, meaning Bakunis. He did that was a 1E product, and
Yeah, it was
he
a
didn't
2E
follow
product.
or was it 2E? Well,
Yeah.
he didn't follow the rules of 2E either. So he's already beside the rules.
Yeah, it may be just the way they boosted him up, but I think it's a multi, but it's still cool. So there's one for you. You know. So Mike and I gave some initial ones coming out, one by request and one by campaign. Throw one out there and let's get this show on the road, man.
It's funny you should mention Andrade Miras in that book because it wasn't on my list, but he was one of my favorite villains out of that book. I got a lot of mileage out of that one.
Well, he can lead a lot of different Nerol cults, and like either the Shriven Sickle or any of the other groups that are in the area. So that's cool.
I think I recall he had a front where he was like a respectable, businessman or something or other, and I worked at the angle. He befriends the player characters and all this stuff, and he earns their trust, and then like double crosses them and try. In my campaign, he Andrade cast a this was 2nd edition, so there was quest spells, and there was a spell he was trying to raise all the dead in the common crypt. Whew, it was a mess. Yeah, Andrade, good times.
Absolutely. So Rich brings up Artur Jakarta. Now,
Artur Jakarta.
Yeah.
Now I kind of threw him to the wayside.
It rings a bell.
Yeah. So I've always showed the picture of Artur Jakarta with Valderessa's Sharon. I didn't snip it and put it up there, but it's this picture. You've seen it 100 times in my streams, right? There they are walking through. Yeah, now this is in this weird era in this book where supposedly like the Horn Society's taken over the Shield Lands, and then that doesn't happen, and then Ayos takes it over, right? And that's kind of the weird thing that's going on here. Now in my campaign, I don't kill off Valderessa's Sharon like Sergeant does. because I really love that character. But Artur Jakarta takes a spot and is actually mentioned in the Marklands too. So he's in another one with like the cover completely gone because it's used so much. But he's in this one as a lord in Furiundi, right? He's and I forget where he's based out of at this point.
Probably on the front lines.
Yeah, but he's like 16th level paladin, very low intelligence, but very like honorable. A cool character. Count of Crystal Reach. Thank you there. Thanks, Rich. So I just put him up there, and I don't have him interacting in my campaign at this point. But it's a great paladin character for your campaign. If you're doing stuff on the border with Ayus, to have him be your lord or send you on missions. So Valmoku, I do not know that name. Geliflare Entrell. I'm not putting where that name is. So I mean, I think I know a lot, and I don't. Artificers calendar, they don't fit in. We have the Maester class anyway now, which is kind of like similar to an Artificer, believe it or not. So, Great Elf Lord Nyron. Well, that's why I don't know anything about Nyrons. I'm not a Nyron person at all. I know nothing about Nyron. And I know Nyrons in the Marklands, but once again, I'm not an eastern side of the map person. We probably should have had Ashur on here tonight to talk about personalities in the Eyes the Evil. That would have been good. So.
Well, we have some of my favorites from that one is Karn, the Paladin, and Carvind, that is the Prince of Reldeven, and Karn is his cousin, I think it is, or brother, I forgot which, but they're relatives, so to speak. They're of the same house, and they're the good ones in the former Great Kingdom, so to speak. So one runs Reldeven as a prince, as a high-powered wizard, very politically wise and savvy, and he's trying to maneuver the principality inside the former Great Kingdom and now the United Kingdom of Alyssa. And Karn is the paladin that been assigned the part of Almor that was devastated during the war and has demons and God knows what of atrocities and stuff happening.
Terrible
up there.
assignment.
Yeah, so he got the assignment of cleaning up that mess, so to speak, and the Reldeven, they took on that thing because they realized if they pull it off, it will be a huge win, so to speak. But it's also risky political maneuver. But it also opens up border contacts with Nyron, so they have now a border they can open with Nyron and trade and get political contacts and stuff like that. So that was part of my campaign in Reldeven. So they're two interesting characters you can play with, and generally kind of fairly evil area with a lot of kind of just scheming, and you can have a couple of good scheming guys thrown in the lot. so that was interesting. And then you have now I forgot the new Overking in Karlstrand. Yeah, Prince
Zavener?
Sorry,
Zavener?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And hang on a second. I need to. Or is it
Raedrich?
No, Raedrich is down in the south. He was former South Province, so he's in
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to you talk about someone else, and I'll be back in a minute.
Ha ha! Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was poking around bottom of my list here. Who knows anything about Quij? Robilar's orc henchman Quij.
Little bit.
I always I admire that. Actually, me and Scott Casper used Quij in our Castle Greyhawk webcomic for a long while, and it was kind of fun drawing an orc and whatnot. But I always wondered, it's like back then it would be unthinkable to have a humanoid henchman. It's one of those things like the DM has to, bend some rules to accommodate you, kind of a thing. I never let one of my players have an orc henchman. I always thought that was cool.
He's a woke orc, according to Rich.
Yeah.
That's funny. I thought he was nosing around at there's the Whistling Fish or whatever. Isn't there an inn that a half ogre owns and he works there? I thought he worked there part-time. Am I misconstruing this?
He might be in one of them books.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think that besides being part of that group, we know nothing about him. Like,
Quidge is not in the Rogues Gallery.
where is he from?
Nope.
What tribe is he from? What's his backstory? No, he's just there.
Small Hill Giant owns it. Okay, Bill, you're right. Small Hill Giant owns that Whistling Fish. Yeah, not an ogre, half ogre. Yeah. But I thought he worked there. I'm thinking Quidge. The guy gave Quidge a job there. I don't know why. Is that an expedition to the Ruins of Greyhawk? I'm just thinking. Yeah. I'm thinking that's a possibility. I know I have a copy here. I don't know. This book is so thick, I'll never go through it and find it.
I could be wrong, but Quidge is partly responsible for freeing IUs if he's running with that group.
Yeah.
So it's like, was he picked for this mission because he's an orc? What I was reading was that they were trying to kill IUs. Well, that's a dumb thing to do. Maybe they were trying to free him. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it's intentional. I really don't. So that's a good question, though. I'm sorry to do something on the personal end, though, but a lot of people are saying they got there because Carlos must have just gotten a whole bunch of new Heart and Holes books in, and everyone's getting them now on this next delivery. So thank you so very much, everyone, for your support on that. And like I said, I still have my one dual setting. There you go.
Yeah.
But
and you were right, Mike. It was Sevener.
Good.
Yeah, and he's kind of I think he's a little bit of an interesting ruler because he's a rogue, a 15-level rogue, and he's neutral evil, and he's also, his power base is the House of Garment, meaning the priests that are Silches. So it's it's a business empire, so to speak. It's money, greed, and business empire. So I get him that he's kind of not really, he likes the money, so he can do all his scheming and do all that stuff, but he is not a business person per se. So I always took him as having all the dirty interests in the world, so to speak, but outspokenly he wanted to have a good facade and a beautiful wife and all the trappings of empire, and then he was the most debauched asshole in the background, so to speak, secretly, but outwards he wanted to be seen as a new overking and orderly and things like that, and the people that backed him were just interested in profit. That was it. We want the money so we can trade and earn money and then invest somewhere else, and then there was like the tension because the people that invested, they don't wanted to start any major wars or anything that started, but so he had to kind of lay in. He was troubled. He needed the money from his the people that backed him, but the problem was that they didn't want to fund all the cool things he wanted to do. So there was some interesting. So occasionally he had to find which priest was the most against, and then simply brutally murder him or do something like that. So it was kind of an interesting tension. So the characters could be hired to do some of this bullshit for him if they wanted to. And because the person they're going to order to murder to get a contract was one of the evil's worst too. So because he had no qualms about, he just wanted an enemy. He just wanted to go. He had no alignment restrictions on who he went against, so to speak. So that wasn't. He was in kind of a very tricky enemy or friend, both friend and enemy to have, so to speak. He had no qualms whatsoever, but very civilized in the way he operated during the day, so to speak. Yeah.
All right, so let me bring up two here in Greyhawk City. One that Bill and Master Crafter suggested, and that is the current Beggar Master, head of the Beggars Union. And I love that there's a guild of beggars in Greyhawk
Theobald?
written up with Beggars Can't, and and they kind of now work with the Thieves Guild, but they had a war with the Thieves Guild, previously. And that's Gaspar.
Gaspar. That's okay.
That's current. Yeah,
and
so
then
he
we have Theobald in the Gord books.
Yeah,
Yes.
Theobald is
Yeah.
gone and dead. Now
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
I have Theobald's son trying to get
Yeah.
revenge in my
Yeah.
campaign that I made up. Best spies in Greyhawk, you are absolutely correct, Bill. If you use them properly, the beggars can be used as the information gatherers for the Thieves Guild. And Gaspar scrupulously ensures that the Beggars Union activities stay within the boundaries defined by the charter with the Thieves Guild. Union members who violate the charter are ruthlessly dealt with, and reparations are made when necessary. So he's no nonsense when it comes to organized crime. Stays organized under him. Alignment of true neutral. So I love that character. But there's a character I love even more. What's that?
Go on.
Than Gaspar in Greyhawk City. And you should probably know, Mike, because you played in that game and you met this person. Well, there's two, but the one I really love is a half-orc. A lot of people don't know that this person's half-orc.
Uh-huh.
And that is
like a quarter orc or something.
He's a full half-orc, and that is the guild master of the Grave Diggers and Embalmers Guild.
Oh.
Selzik Gobayuk.
Okay,
yes.
I remember you. Yeah.
There he is. Guild master of Embalmers and Grave Diggers.
Forgot that.
Yes, Bill knew. Yeah, I love this character. I've kind of made him into a little bit of a comedy act, a little bit in my game. And Bill's character, Salen's the deputy guildmaster of the Guild of Grave Diggers and Embalmers, by the way, is necromancer cleric. And I always have it that Selzik has a weakness for cheesecakes, so that's how you can get. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so
he can maintain the smell and all that. Yeah,
absolutely. So yep, and so but I just love dealing with that guild. That guild, as you know, death is fun, right? So, but he's one of my favorite characters in Greyhawk, and look him up. And he's always been a half-orc and always not been changed. And this is going back to the old days of that book, and a really cool. Yes, absolutely, Ranger Harley, absolutely. Who wants to shoot up one next? Annie, got one?
I want to ask a question here because I'm kind of curious. When you develop NPCs and stuff, how much backstory and stuff do you put in there, so to speak?
All right, so you're talking about
kind of ideas for give me tips and ideas for the backstory of NPCs. Maybe
enough,
that's not the topic. Yeah,
enough to make them first off believable, and secondly, not so rigid that I can't change that as it goes in some instances. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Mm-hmm. So from what's going on in our adventure now, I had to make up the NPC of Benian's brother Bernardin, who's a Sylvan Elf necromancer, right, who sent him on this mission, if everyone's watching last Thursday. And he turns out he's a little bit of an idiot, right? So so you got to just let it flow. But you have to have a base. I always like to stat them out. I like to have them so I know if they have any flaws in their characters, or they have a weak con, or they're super strong, or they have a real low wisdom, and then build them from there and use them for interaction purposes. Yeah. So but that's where I don't think you need to go super crazy on like 2 lines. 2 lines is all you need, and then if something happens, you can adjust it a little bit, and then the character develops in the course of gameplay. How does that sound with everyone? So. Does that answer the question?
Oh yeah, but I'm interested because I usually go into the trap of putting myself in like the James Bond situation, meaning the script writers write James Bond in a corner so much that then they have to come up with something completely extraordinary to pull him out, so to speak. And so I paint myself in a corner by putting a lot of details into the NPCs to begin with.
Good for main nemesis.
Yeah.
Good for a main character that's going to be repetitive. But for a character that maybe, on the side fringe or once in a blue moon or interaction, you don't need to do that. That's my opinion.
You normally don't need it. But for me, sandboxy games, then they might come back again, so to speak. So,
right.
So the problem is that once they might kill them outright begin with. So but then you can always reuse most of the backstory with a different name and switch out a few components later. So
there used to be... In my group, there used to be a tell. And what I mean tell is, like, if I'm trying to say, like, I told you I had Andrade Marius. and he's a villain, but I was trying to portray him as a good guy. So the tell is if I provide too much backstory on him, like if there's a lot of scripted known stuff about him, then that's telling the players that he's important. There's something about this guy, so I have to sometimes parse my words to not make him seem too important, almost that I'm making him up on the fly kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it's weird. For my own enjoyment, it's nice. Some of these NPCs have backstories and things, but in play, yeah, like Jay's saying, sometimes you need a little wiggle room.
Yeah, and Boogers I met on Portrait Workshop, and a good guy, does a lot of stuff. 25% planned, 50% developed, 25% the unplanned, and that's where that seems to be a good ratio.
Yeah. I usually put a lot of the hints and stuff into backstories of NPCs. So if they question an NPC, and now I'm not necessarily meaning like interrogate them at sword point, but just like socializing, hanging out, giving them a drink in the bar, and then getting them or befriend them or something like that, and then they can kind of get hints at how the world works or what's up, so to speak, and stuff from it. So there's a lot of it, and I always, for me, it's important, and I think that about 75% of the effort I put into an NPC is something that the players would never directly know, but it's something that is important for me in the decision of what this character going to do, or this NPC going to do when the players do this, and they pressure him. Is he going to give up? Is he going to get angry? Where his pressure points, so to speak? And for example, now I'm developing. This is another spoiler for my players a bit. Yeah, I have a character, an NPC they haven't met yet. His name is Udard, and he is an NPC that might come in and take over their village at a soon point or a little bit longer, so to speak. And he is a little bit of a mess of a character. He grew up in he was a former hierarch of the Horned Society. So he was one of their low to mid-level henchmen, so to speak. He's now he's in late 30s, early 40s or something like that. So he's a seasoned fighter. He's like 12th level, 13th level. He's not he was fighting IUs and stuff like that when they took over. So he hates IUs more than anybody, but he's also wising up because he was one that they took with him to Greyhawk. So he got to see the outside world and got to like normal life a bit. And then he started to he used to be like neutral evil and just hated everybody and did it. But then he changed a little bit when he grew older, and now he's more kind of questioning his whole upbringing, so to speak. But he's also a damn effective fighter, meaning he survived the back streets of Molag, and then he survived wars and stuff, meaning he knows every trick in the book, and he has some roguish abilities and stuff like that. And now his new boss is sending him out to scout out this village to see if we can take it over, and it will be interesting to see what the players do when he comes, and if they will ally with him, if they will see him as a new enemy, and also to see. And it depends. I don't know what the situation in the village will be when he shows up. I'm just rolling the die to see when he will come there, so to speak. So it's something that they might end up on the same side as him, or he might be a villain, so to speak. It depends. Yeah, nice. He's ruthless, so he can be very useful, but he's starting to have a little bit a slight conscience, so to speak. He realized that he values comrades, so to speak. So comrades in arms. Yeah.
So Rich just put a perfect thing. A good DM makes you love the NPCs and then kill them painfully in imaginative ways. And then I retorted,
that is awesome.
I retorted, or hate them and not be able to kill them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah.
Because let me tell you something. These guys on Thursday, they want to kill Alan's Sylvan Elf, fighter, Benian's brother. They want it because they put him in a real world of hurt right now, right in the middle there. So so Bill's character, Bill's already telling me like, I'm going to turn around. I'm almost dead. I'm going to turn around and just accidentally shoot an arrow into that guy. I'm like, oh, whatever, man.
That's another very, very important part of the NPCs is to stir up emotions from the players. Yep.
Absolutely.
Positive and negative. Interest, love, and hate.
So I want to bring up one Dorgrim brought up, and that is
Yeah.
from Greyhawk 2, because once you guys bring up stuff, and that's Derrida Fanchen. Now she is
Yeah.
she is a 12th level specialty priest of Paylor as of this book. So who knows what level she ends up later on, but she's the second in command of the Watch. Behind Sentinel Nureyev, correct? Do I have that correct there?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. So, and it is definitely she is high level to begin. That's a high level in this priest. To not be a head of a church or something like that. So, yeah, and so just wanted to discuss her, and she Derrida's held in stronger affection. My player was scarred by binging. See, that is the way to do it, and that is long-term planning from a little. It's called the J butterfly effect. All right, you have something so trivial like what Alan's character Sam did, leaving his thieves in the Thieves Guild in Highport during that one adventure, that I turned into a plot line 25 years long, and that NPC is now the head of the Thieves Guild in Altamira, seeking revenge on him. See, you just got to develop things, and that's just the way you do it, So it's a blast. So that one's a good one too. And one more I want to talk about. One of my all-time favorites, more than Selzik, is Estrella. I love Estrella Chanfarel. Right, Mike? I mean, Greyhawk Dragon.
One of those flavor. The Greyhawk Dragon is just extra, but no, I think that's one of those nice flavor NPCs.
Because you can do a lot with her at any level.
Yeah. Does she really have any agendas or enemies or anything?
See you Sunday, Carlos. No, she doesn't. She enjoyed. So I had an adventure where they found a portrait of a woman in the basement of the opera house because they were trying to find her because she got kidnapped, and it was a picture of another woman from about 200 years ago, and it was her with a different name. And I'm like, what is this? So that's what I did, and they're like, is she an elf? What is she? And then they tried to figure it out. And she was just playing along the whole time. She wanted to be rescued. It was like an act for her, right? So, and that's the kind of cool things you can do with Greyhawk Dragons. I had a blue goblin. Oh, a psionic. Oh, psionic-based goblin. That's disturbing. Yeah. So everyone, we will see Carlos on Sunday. We got a chock full.
So would that be a Zavar?
Yeah, 4 streams and 5 nights starting tonight, everyone. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're going to crank it this week. So and let me pop up what's going on Sunday night, an All-Star game where I get to kill Casey. I'm sorry, Casey. I say that. I get to kill one of his characters. Oh, I can't wait for this one. You're gonna love that. The one I'm planning, and it's gonna be a blast for the Barrier Geeks. So, all right, Mike, throw us out one.
So earlier we were talking about I threw out Quiz and was talking about the freeing of ice and everything. One of the other characters that was in that is Rigby, and Rigby, cleric of Bokov. And what I found interesting about this character is that it was in Rogues Gallery, Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure, I think in Temple of Elemental Evil, not sure. Also then posthumously in Expedition to the Ruins of Greyhawk. So it's an interesting NPC that has never really been used in my campaign before, except in a casket.
That gets desecrated.
I wouldn't mention the word, but casketed NPCs can be interesting.
I love what Eric and Jason and James, whoever did it, put his body in here, and there's a big party from him coming back into town, and then the Iusians steal it and desecrate it.
Ius is like very vengeful. So Ius went after a dead Rigby.
Yes.
All right, that's why this comes back around to Quiz again. Quiz was there too.
Yeah, he's in that one.
He should be a target.
Well, I guess Ius will go after anyone who wants to thwarted him back in the day, so to speak. He vengeful, I think, is Ius' middle name. So, or should be at least.
So remind us all that we need to ask some more questions about that adventures, Expeditions Ruins of Greyhawk, the last event during Gary Con that we have, the Ask the Experts, when we have Eric Mona on again.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to ask Eric some more detailed questions.
Yeah.
That's one in particular about what your thoughts on the on Rigby and what you had going on there. So yeah, really cool.
Because Rigby was in the Citadel of Eight, and seems
All
to be a
over.
very pivotal NPC that I don't think is well known.
Yeah,
he's just kind of like Quiz. He was there, but in the background.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's the kind of character that lasts time. As you can see, he made it 30, 40 years of publications. And a lot of them don't. I mean, Warren and Canaan's and Tensor are exceptions, right? But that lesser character appears all the way through. So
yeah.
But it's cool. It's a great one, Mike. It's a real good one. And like I said, you don't have to if you're pre-running like that 591 600 or whatever that takes place 598 era. I mean, you can still have him running around too, because he's been in hiding ever since they freed Ayus, right? And then he's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, Barrett Geeks this Saturday. I get to kill you all off. I'm sorry, Casey. I'm making that up. So, all right. So, if there are adventuring parties that you want to use, and this is where my interaction comes in high with canon, published source, discussed characters. And that is, in this book, is the Fellowship of the Torch. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
There's 5 members of the Fellowship of the Torch. No matter what From the Ashes says, there's still 5.
Never knew what to do with them.
You use them as a facilitator for good adventures. That's what I have done. So I've actually had 1 or 2 of these go on adventures with the party where I NPC'd them, or they were busy and they sent an adventuring group on a mission. So you have Nastasia Ariani Nightstar. She's a dual class human fighter magic user with a tint of elven blood, and is now kind of studying about Ouija, but she's still lawful good. Garen Lareth, a ranger. Corellian Alaves, a spellcaster, a wizard. Marie Senfort, an illusionist. And then Grimmy Fisher, the gnome thief that they kill often from the ashes that I refuse to kill often from the ashes. Sorry. I know Carlos and I would go all around on that. But they're excellent, and it's all in here, and the history of the Fellowship is in here. This is a wonderful, if you're in Greyhawk adventuring and you want to start somewhere and you want like a patron group, that's the one to use if you want a published source. So that's 5 great NPCs that you can utilize. And they're good based. So not all about villains tonight. What's that book from? This is Folks, Feuds, and Factions from the Free City of Greyhawk box set. Once again, that's why I think it's the #1 publication of all time. And this book, and you get these 2 books in there, plus all the maps. The Gem of the Fash book, which is like, the outskirts, and then you have the actual city itself. This book details guilds, the military, the Thieves Guild, the Assassins Guild, the Beggars Guild, all the baddies like the Shape Changers and those 3 stage characters and all the goodies too in here, like Jakarta and Vale, the rest. They're all in here. It's really great. So if you do not have it, that's why
the City of Greyhawk is my favorite place to run, because there's just so much material to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. There is so much material, and you don't even need to adventure in Greyhawk. You can adventure in the Cairn Hills. You can adventure out in the outskirts of Aberrels. You can go to the Doom Grinder for sake if you really want to torture yourself. But
even go to the.
Sit, Anna.
Yep.
All right, Anna, what do you got for us? Oh, that's all right, Carlos. You just we're just talking about the Fellowship of the Torch. So cool.
I need to ask you guys what you think about Mordenkainen, because it's one of these enigmatic kind of looming NPCs that is kind of
minor.
Yeah. But
Uh,
meaning, is that something you can use, and how would you use him?
Take it first, Mike.
Mordenkainen is the character you use when you want the players, you want to railroad the players into doing a quest you want them to do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's Mordenkainen wants us to do it. Well, okay, no questions asked.
Yeah.
You know? And the longer we've gone on with publications, the shadier he seems to get too.
Yeah. I've kind of shaded him out of my campaign so far, but I want to introduce him. I want to have some epic kind of role for him to fill at some event, so to speak, because they are kind of so iconic to the story. So I rarely feel worthy of putting them in. So that's like, I don't want to toy around with all kind of awesome.
Mordenkainen is
often.
like, it's weird. He's the leader of the Circle of 8.
Yeah.
But if you count Mordenkainen, it's the Circle of 9.
Yeah.
You know, so he's even above the Circle of 8.
He's not part of the executive. He's the board, so to speak. He doesn't participate. And he's now hiding up in the Yatil somewhere. So gone mad or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I like this. There's an entire chapter in this. This is good. In Expeditions to the Ruins of Greyhawk, where you need to break into the College of Wizardry and get into Mordenkainen's upper sanctum to get the key to the Tower of Magic. Correct, Mike? Or something that helps you get in the Tower of Wizardry.
Yep. You want to break into an unbreakable place.
Right. And you actually will run across, and there he is right there, you will run across Mordenkainen in this adventure. So...
that's a good start. Yeah,
it's a good start, but I don't see him. I can't get over the sinister thing, like that it's being done because he's been pilfered. I'm sorry, from Watsy's pilfered him in this generic world thing. I don't see it that way. I just don't.
He was much more lighthearted, like when Ed Greenwood was writing about him in the Wizards 3, and he actually gave him a voice, is what's interesting, because this is dialogue.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you go back and read those articles, he's actually talking about events that are going on in current publication. You know, he'll talk about, Vecna lives, or the Greyhawk Wars, or something like that. You know, so it's even in context
yet, but
But then different authors, then you have different tales on them. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't like that. I think one is enough, and Rary is enough as a sinister aspect of X Circle member. That's just my opinion. But I don't. I have only ever utilized him here. Okay, I use Tensor a lot more to interact with.
True.
Yes,
he's the one that I've used back in the day as a good guy, so to speak.
Tensor's the example you want your players to follow. Mordenkainen is the greedy, self-centered one that you don't want your players to become.
That's that's a good. But then we can move into Tensor. Because I portrayed Tensor as the good wizard that was kind of that kind of steered and
I see him as extremely militant, extremely.
With
all his spells, you should know. I mean, Tensor's.
These kind of fighting. He wants to be a fighter, but he's a wizard kind of guy.
Absolutely, and Tensor's Tensor's Boots of the Running Warrior is one of the most. All right, it basically, Tensor's Boots of the Running Warrior and that spell turns 1E 2E into a 5E fight. Because now, like Bill's character, Marcus has him, and he can move 150 feet attack, or he can move 70 feet attack and move again. Does that sound familiar? But he's the only one in the campaign, unless someone casts that spell. He's got boots that do that. So, like, there's all those. There's Tensor's Primal Fury and Deadly Strike, and all the other ones that are just like crazy. But I see him as like the lawful good militant wizard who's fighting evil and Canadian, thank you for that, for Bobcat. That was awesome. That's the way I see him, and I love using him. So, but I don't use him that much.
No, that high level I don't use much at all, so to speak.
I use Jalarzi more than anyone.
Yeah.
I like Jalarzi a lot because
Well, she lives in the city. She's more accessible. That's the way I always saw it. Otto lived in the city. He's more accessible.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Otto
I've
is
used
such an interesting. Oh, sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay, Anna. I've used Otto a lot. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Otto is the wizard I would love to see in a battle with all his cool spells and stuff. That will be a lot of fun. And then I would invent a couple of more just to for the hell of it, so to speak. That will be a lot of fun to.
I
have
want to show.
punching.
I want to
Yeah.
show something that Patrick, Canadian Ancient Gamer, sent me. Has anyone else looked at this? And I got the. Oh, thank you for the follow, Dark Horse. We're getting there to 4,000. I want 4,000 by the end of GaryCon. I just need to get there. Thank you so very much. Anyone? Mordenkainen's Lost Notebook, DM's Guild. Is anyone?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I may have glanced at it.
Well, it's got a lot of old school spells in it, but it's
Uh-huh.
got stuff I've never heard of before. Now, Searing Light's in here, but here's one: Shape of the Hellspawn Stalker. I've never heard of it. So there is stuff in here that I can back convert that is new, that I don't know where it came, and I don't know the references if they put. That's where. Okay, so
So that's interesting. That's on DM's Guild.
yeah, it looks like that's what that means, right?
So because we have a Mordenkainen's book, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes.
Thank you, Patrick.
That's saying to DM's Guild authors, you can slap Mordenkainen's name on the cover and use him as a reference. I think more people should do that.
I would help. Yeah, and here's one: Chapter 4 to Vistani. So that's the ones that are in Ravenloft, right? They call it Demi-Plane of Dread here, but
Yeah.
and there's all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff here that I can be utilized. And who wrote
That means
this?
Tasha is fair game now.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I
With
think
the other
people
book,
should get there and start developing Tasha. stuff.
R.P. Davis wrote this. Anyone know R.P. Davis?
No.
I don't know any.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, it does,
There's
doesn't
that
it?
book.
It does. So
Mordenkainen's Spine Castle.
I just I'm excited that there's a publication out there I knew nothing about, and
I'll never do it. DM's Guild frustrates me. They made Ghost of Saltmarsh. I feel I should make Enemies of Saltmarsh and just make it my Sea Princess campaign.
well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
Put
a
Saltmarsh on the cover, then
That's a
it's
good
all
one.
good, right?
would it get
Yeah.
approved though? Would they go? Oh,
I don't know.
but there's ways around it. So Mordenkainen's Spine Castle. Yeah, I can imagine. Oh no. Gary's got a new book ready to go that should have come tonight. But it will. I don't think I have it up here. No, I
Casey
didn't.
thinks it could work.
Yeah, there's some things that we will be seeing soon coming out. So I don't know. I don't know how far they would let you go with that, but it's a possibility, I guess. So
It would just show the absurdity of them withholding
right.
that for authors. That
Yep.
you know,
Oh, definitely.
you know.
All right. So let's pick. Let's go with another one. Anna, you want to do one?
Well, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, ask that question
we had
first,
the
so.
episode. Yeah, we had the episode about locations and stuff, and I had the Dreadlord, and then I can take him as an NPC a little bit, and since it's Gary, I think it's Gary Holian who invented him. I think, and that's
Dreadlord Holian.
exactly.
Dreadlord what? Holian.
No,
Dreadlord Holian.
Well, we're going
Well,
to
it's-
have
yeah,
we're going to have the
Lord-
Black Knight Holian soon too,
Oh,
and the joust.
yeah.
He's
Yep.
got the Black Knight coming for
Yeah.
Greyhawk.
So we have Lord Monduis Defad,
Monduis.
that is one of the Death Knights that I think he's a really cool villain, and he's a level 21 or like challenge rating 21, so he's really up there. And he's kind of an interesting beast. He started to serve Demogorgon and then kind of under Kargoth, and then rebelled against him, became his own lord, so to speak, and runs his own little thief. And that is an
Good.
interesting, both as a you can cast him, he can be the villain in the campaign for some reason, but he can also be one that has a mission to kill something else that is very, very evil. So or you can be the real master behind a mission that you don't realize when someone else sends you somewhere. So he can be, you can tweak him in a lot of different ways. And I think he's kind of an interesting. He's one barbarian beast in real life, and he served a lot up with the barbarians up in the Theronian Peninsula. I think it was the Ice Barbarians.
You don't know
And
that.
then he became undead and a death knight. So he's kind of, if you really want to have a battle beast, so to speak, he's the guy.
I don't know.
So I think he's kind of an interesting, if you want to have a master evil villain in many different ways. I think he can really fit, and he's not the wizard, so to speak. He's a melee guy, and through and through, I think. Yeah.
Brian, I know there was an article about Evard, and when they did those, I remember that, but I don't know that much about Evard, other than he has the Black Tentacle spell. Mike, do you know much about Evard?
He was in a dungeon magazine once.
It was Dungeon, where they had those personalities written up. Yeah.
I think it's one of these really old ones that disappeared. Gary disappeared out of TSR, and no one took him up afterwards, I think.
Yeah. He's a local threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
To Bissell.
Those kind of evil ones are good, absolutely. Now, Carlos, I got Carlos's attention here, so I'm going to go to this book, and I talked about this person. And I'm not going where you think. So, my Falling Apart Slavers, and we're going to talk about Marquesa, but Marquesa the Green. Okay, so. Now, we know there's 4 Marquesa clones, not counting Carlos's adventures. If there's more, you have Marquesa the Red, Marquesa the Black, and Marquesa the Gold are all bad copies out there. There's a Marquesa the Green, and it discusses her in these slavers. Marquesa the Green, her real name's Miquelon, and she's a Sylvan elf, and they had her, she's called that because she has a green cloak. I think it's a cloak of Elvenkind, yes. But she disappears, and the theory is she gets her memory back. So I played that up in my campaign as a published source, Sean Reynolds and Chris Promise character, and now she kind of has a relationship with this one group of adventurers, and whatever they're between Cantona and Safeton, on that side, she may appear with them during an adventure, just out of the blue, just show up, and they're like, one of those "how did you get here" kind of deals. So I love that character, and she's very jealous. Listen to Tim, but that's a great one in the Slavers book for you to look up. It's a small blurb, like a paragraph on her, the Missing Marquesa, it's called. So there you go. Mike, Anna, you want to throw one out there? Trying to stay away from the hardcore villains tonight.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to do. So here's another one of these peripheral, like, henchman characters, Sir Tin. So I want to know from the brains out there in the audience. I say he's a cleric, but then there's also references to say he's a wizard.
Yeah.
I know, at least from my own writings, he was killed at the Battle of Emery Meadows.
Which is,
I would go as a cleric. He was there in support. He was also part of the Citadel of 8. I think he is part of why they broke up.
I remember he had like 6 intelligence or something in the rogues gallery, didn't he?
Not very smart. Yeah, he was not very smart, and but his death caused a little friction in the Citadel, I believe.
So he dies 569, which is very early for a campaign. So no one's really gonna, unless you're fighting at the Battle of Emery Meadows. Then you may run across him, which is cool, but so there is that magic yourself certain spell immunity. My theory on that, Carlos, and that's a good point, is that a wizard got some of Certain's writings or whatever, or notes, and said, I can convert this over into help me with his clerical immunities and turn it into a mage spell, because it is a high level spell. There's no way. It's like 7th level, isn't it? Certain spell immunity?
Might be 8th.
Well, if it's 7th, you'd be 14th to cast it. And if it's 8th, 13th or 14th. And if it's 8th, you need to be 15th or 16th to cast it. So, Yeah, they named after him. That's right. I believe, Dale. I agree too. Yeah, because there's no way he could be a wizard that high. It's one of those glitches you get in like when you have different writers for like Star Wars novels and there's conflicts, right?
Right.
Oh
The
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. That's a real good one. He's in the Rogues Gallery. He's definitely documented in that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I put him up there with Rigby. You know, he's one of these weird, like second tier NPCs that I never really factored in my campaign. He's dead, so you can only really refer to him posthumously. Cleric, wizard, you know. It's
Right.
something that only tortured me. My players never had to worry about that stuff.
It's very cool. It's a good one. Real good one. Excellent pick. Anna, what do you got?
Um,
I'm
well,
moving on.
we said we should not talk about wizards,
Cool.
but there's a bunch of wizards we can talk that was kind of interesting to see you guys talk about. And then we have Drawmage, the
Jim Ward.
yeah, exactly. So I was thinking he seems to be the
I love dramas.
okay, please. Yeah, why?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't know much about him. I'm asking questions rather than
Drawmage
Mhm.
is, for me, the Sea Mage.
Yeah.
He's the one that has the underwater lair.
Yeah.
He's always been one of the more interesting ones of the circle for me. I don't really know much about his backstory, but apparently he doesn't like the Mage of the Vale.
No,
I
he
guess.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that all
Have
stems
to-
from.
Yeah.
He is, and he's over there in the west and down in the southwest part, which I always thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them seem to gravitate towards the center of
Mhm.
Flannis. So maybe because I just run a lot of Sea Princess stuff, he popped up in my campaign a few times. I don't have anything particular to talk about. I think he's a conjuration specialist.
Yeah.
He's like a wheeler and dealer, I think, and is a facilitator a lot too. Kind of like Morning Canaan, but kind of has his own machinations. And I know Jim Ward really hated some of his pictures, right, with the earrings and stuff. He did not like that. Yeah. Jim didn't like that, but I know it would take me a couple minutes to find it, and I don't want to crash the stream. But I got a great picture from our friend Dungeon Meister of them meeting Drawmage, the characters in their campaign meeting him, and
I think he's the most handsome of the circle,
he is.
if I'm wrong.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely is. I'm sorry, I'm typing here.
Yeah.
Stink, thank you for the sub and all the most recent supports on Instagram and following on here. I really appreciate it. It was really kind of you. Thank you.
I used to go full Captain Nemo with Drawmage.
Mhm.
Back in my second edition campaign, Drawmage would have it was a Magitech submarine in the shape of a whale.
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
It was crazy.
That almost
Crazy
sounds like
fun.
Bondish, Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Very, very cool.
I have another wizard that is not part of the circle of the 8 or the Greyhawk that I'm definitely want to have as a master villain in the campaign if I go back east again to Great Kingdom, and that's Karulk, the last.
I don't know much about him.
I don't know that much
The last
about him.
hierarch?
Wizard?
Exactly.
Court wizard?
He was a court wizard of the Great Kingdom. Yes.
Oh,
So
okay,
he's
all
one
right.
of the one that knows the last of the secrets
Excuse me.
and stuff like that of the Naelexes and the Overkings and stuff like that. So he kind of oversaw the fall of Rossi's and was kind of really involved in that whole process. And he's now he was kind of in liege with, and he's a disciple of Balsabul or whatever you call it in English. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that in English, but so he's like in liege with the hell very, very, very much, so to speak. So just like Bakunis is a demonologist, he's kind of a devilologist or whatever you call it. So and I kind of made a twist because I was so interested in introducing Karulk as a major villain, and I planned to have it in my campaign. The problem was that we never got that far. But I introduced, but his familiar didn't like him. So his familiar cat kind of ran off, but the problem was that the cat has been around high level wizards and magic that much, but so the cat was kind of smart and had some magical abilities. So the cat fled and found himself a nice little village where he simply started to inspire everybody to become his slaves, so he could run the little village and make sure they fed him and did everything he wanted. And the characters came in, and then they could sense that there was some evil, and they were going around rooting around trying to find it, and it was actually the cat that was kind of the master villain of the village. And that was Karulk's familiar that didn't like him much, so he ran off, so to speak. So but Karulk is one of these. He's even the Undying, he's a level 18 wizard.
That's
And
high.
yeah, exactly. So, and he was the court wizard in Rossi's, and he was the one that oversaw. So he kind of he deposed the former court wizard Zain or Sane. And so he took him over at the end, so to speak. So and he kind of disposed of him, and I don't know exactly what happened to him. So Karulk became the top dog, so to speak, that ran the show at the probably maybe the last year or couple of years or something. So I guess his standing in with the hells is really, really high, so to speak. So there you can have some interesting things going on between him and the Church of Hextor and various other devilish machinations and stuff like that to build a future campaign. So he's one of these kind of interesting things, and I think he's a card sergeant invention that from his era.
Is he?
I think so, because
Yeah.
I don't think he appeared before even
think
the
so, too.
Undying. I think it's from even the Undying, and he's kind of
Okay.
really, really cool, so to speak. So yeah,
Sevord Redbeard. Is he from the Five Shall Be One?
that's more than I know. Yeah.
Is he from Stonefist?
Might be in that, but yeah, Stonefist.
Yeah. Yeah. He was the leader, right? Got tricked.
He's the one that gets tricked.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Yep.
yes, Stonefist. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool one.
The one that hate IUs more than
Swords?
almost everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say he's probably one of the highest level fighters, rulers in the box set.
Yeah.
Like even before
Hey,
Five Shall Be One and all that.
Yeah, I would see him as
Correct
like a
Warriors.
fighter barbarian kind of thing. He both
Yeah.
have this half the skill and half his sheer will to fight, and then just go on and be the toughest ever, and not the sharpest tool in the shed. So when he's being fooled,
There's a lot of
into
those.
that- yeah, and then after he being tricked by IUs, and afterwards he's so hateful that
Fighter
cross it.
18th level
See?
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meaning, and he survives, I think, and afterwards he realized that he screwed up, and then he gets so angry and pissy afterwards. So he will be interesting to portray. Yeah.
So I got one, Mike, that I thought maybe you would bring up because you talked about Castle Elanestra on a previous show just recently, right?
Yeah.
So, and that is the Knight of the Heart who runs that, and that is Sharon. Look, I even have her highlighted in here with notes. Charnalem, right?
Yeah.
She is. I love this character. 11th level ranger, human. She has Tiergs, and she's got her castle's a daunting, eerie place. It says. And she's a knight of the Furyandi, but she works with the High Folkians. She's got a priest of Corellian Larethian and a half-elven priestess of Alana among her household. Very cool character. I don't want to hear, and please don't tell me that the Living Girl people killed her off. I know they're going to say they did. I know.
Yeah,
She's not a Swan May. No, she's not. Remember, Rich, Swan Mays are from the Gnarly, not Furyandi. right? So she's not a Swan May. She's a knight of the Friandi. Yep.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there are Swan May. There is a couple Swan Mays from the Ashes that are documented, but she's not one of them. So. But it's a cool character. And then another one I want to bring up, one of my other favorites that we've used a lot, is in I is the Evil, and it probably should be in the Marklands, but he's in here, and so he's tough to find. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And when I do my Vespi campaigning, Grekton Selrook, the Torch of Grumsh. So this is an Orcish 9th level fighter. And they are a Selbit orc and madly xenophobic zealot. Grumpsh's might is right, and they hate Orogs, and they hate IUs, and they hate the orcs that IUs are bringing into the Vespi, and they will go and fight them. So you can turn some evil to your goodness or whatever and use them. And a lot of our groups, especially our high level Knights of Ulick that are in the Vespi, have actually worked with the Torch of Grumsh to fight IUs, which is kind of a cool connection there. So one of our characters was offered in great honor to pluck his own eye out and become more like Grumsh, and he wouldn't do it, right, Bill, if you're still on? I tried to get him to pluck his own eye out, but he wouldn't do it. I tried.
He
Come
would
on.
if there was an Eye of Vecna.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Pop that out there. So, Mike, you got one? As we keep on.
Sure. Let's bring it back to the city of Greyhawk.
Sure.
And talk about my two favorites BFFs in the city of Greyhawk. And that's the pair that run everything. The Nair of Gazgal and Orgnenshin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those NPCs are so cool. These are the kind of NPCs in my campaign where I don't need stats for them. My players knew not to mess with them. So, because the place is ran by thieves, and you got the spies everywhere, and so these were the kind of NPCs that my players tried to make friends with, and I just like that there's actually some non-wizard NPCs that have that much pull and in such an important city. That's why I kind of pair them together.
Well, you have to, right? They tend to work. They tend to work together. I love them both, and
Nerov runs the Wheel Gold gambling house. Perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you got some money from Castle Greyhawk, come spend it at the Wheel of Gold. So I was always good at getting my friends, their gold pieces. And then, if they cheated, then the Thieves Guild would come after you. And then Org is, both of them, the ruling directors of the city of Greyhawk. So anytime my players want to get involved in politics, then they knew they had to get past Org and Nerov. It was like a voting block. All the
and they have the quarter heads of the Thieves Guilds too. I don't know. I kind of utilized them, and some of them were underhanded and actually were causing trouble. We went that direction with a couple of different.
I think one was named Tomas
Ratek. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was one that was like a cleric of female cleric of Corell. I can't remember her name.
Sharon.
Sharon. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I actually had her. I had her try to overthrow Orgnenshin once. That was a nice subplot.
That is the fun you can have in Thieves Guild adventuring. It's built right into this box set here. If you look under Low Life, there's a whole subplot going on with the River Quarter and the Foreign Quarters leaders where they're plotting against Orgnention and Naroth, and so you can actually build that up as a plot line, and that went a long way in our campaign with the Grey Company, probably about, I'm going to say 20 years ago. So,
but yeah, so here's a couple thieves who really don't have. I couldn't tell you a single magic item that those two have. If you think about it, do they even need magic items?
no.
If anything happens to the City Grok, they could go to, call on the Circle of Eight. They could call on the Guild of Mages or high-level clerics. These guys have it made. They're just rich. That's their power.
Yep. And some characters like Mordenkainen, I think you put in there, are so powerful you don't really need to stat them out, right? If you're fighting them or doing stuff, then you got that's a little too high. That's where the Monty Hallisms come in my opinion. There, but so great one, great two. All right, Anna, what do you got?
One that I would love to have as a major NPC, not necessarily a villain, but some interesting to have in a campaign, is Boss Renfus, the modeled, the mayor of Stoic.
Okay.
And it's one of these kind of very interesting places to have, so to speak. So that's one that I would see. He is depicted in the Living Greyhawk Journal as grossly overweight and is neutral, and he is, I guess, a savvy operator and kind of interesting. So that's something I would kind of like to have adventure set in Stoic one day. I haven't gotten there, but that's one that is high on my list.
I've never used it.
Yeah, and in the Gord books, there is some awesome adventures played out there too. So
I know that city was on Gary's to-do list back in the day.
Exactly. He always said that, and I think it was one of the forewords or the afterwards in the Gord books where he wrote that.
Why. What's so important about that Stoic?
Well, I think it was one of these that was it was kind of a cool place for them to adventure. So it was like the Wild Coast or something. It was a place where I think they ran adventures back in the day. At least that from Gary's writing, that seems to be the case. And it's an interesting city because it's a big city just on the doorstep of a good functioning country. So you don't have to go that far. You can just venture across the river and you can be in all sorts of trouble, so to speak. So it's an interesting place you can go to for many different reasons. And Boss Renfus, you can really, if you want to have a mafia boss type kind of NPC, I think he will fit the bill. Not necessarily super evil, more greedy and power hungry than evil. He will probably use every tool in the book, both good tools and bad tools, so to speak. He will be as needed, so to speak. He will have good friends and great enemies too. So it's kind of one of these things that you can kind of see where it goes. Yeah.
That is funny, Rich.
Like Detroit for people from Windsor. That was okay.
So
that was tough. Yeah.
I just learned something.
Okay.
Because Rich was talking about Swan Maze, and I wanted to look up Swan Maze and the Gnarly Forest Rangers in the From the Ashes book here, my Fallen Part here, page 42. And I just because we've been using the Gnarly Forest Rangers, and I forgot they have their own secret tongue, the Gnarly Forest Rangers.
Yeah.
I did not remember that, and so that is cool.
Version of Druidism, I think. Yeah.
An almost imperceptible clenching of a fist accompanies a shifting gaze. Wow. So that's cool, and I knew about what's his name, Persimmon's the leader of that group, and he's a high level ranger. And then the head of the Swan Maze is Matriarch Serendia. So there is a Swan Maze Night Below, Tim. I didn't know that. I haven't delved into it in detail too much. Wow. Okay, but there's 44 Swan Maze in the Gnarly. I have one PC in my campaign of 41 years that has made it to Swan May. She's been taken into the sorority of the Swan Maze, and she's a ranger, and she is in the Order of Ulick. So there you go. Very cool. I always loved that idea. And very neat as far as able for you to react and with NPCs and role play up. Both the Gnarly Forest Rangers and the Swan Mages have some good ones too.
So, Jay, Mike, can you give good examples of NPCs you have created?
Created.
Yeah.
You go first,
Instead of-
Mike. Because I'm not going to talk about Michael Baton tonight. I just can't do it.
No,
Okay.
skip the one that are obvious. Take, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mike, you can go first.
Yeah.
NPCs that I've created.
Used.
Well, yeah. You know, I would say there's got to be hundreds of them, right? But it's sad that like none of them are really jumping out.
Does it?
I'd have to really jog my memory here.
Yeah.
Let's see. So if I went with like City of Greyhawk, there's got to be stuff in the City of Greyhawk I've created of my own. Surely I'm not just using all published stuff like a lazy person. But I probably am.
One word. Yep. What? So you got one? Wow.
You know, it's. I think a lot of my NPCs maybe that I've created now, at least still fresh in my memory, might be in the Sea Princes, because out of necessity I've had to create them, or in the Barbarian Lands or in Olds, because I write about Old constantly, but nothing that I've actually used in play.
About the T-Rex. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, that's it's
so
amazing that actually stumps me.
So come on, how about?
I took you from nothing. So no.
I got one for you, Mike. Here's one Mike did. I mean, you got to have stats on Abby Dalsum, don't you?
See, I don't consider that a creation of my own, though.
But it's one line from a spell, Abby Dalsum's Hard Wilting, and there's nothing else anywhere in published source anywhere.
Right.
Correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I guess that counts. I created the backstory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's another NPC that I've never statted.
Okay.
I believe. So there on my site there is. Now I gotta look it up. The Hungry Hawkery in the articles section. There is a article called "The Wonders of Ull, Old School Edition" that Brian Doherty kind of converted some of my work, and he statted up Abid Alzim for I think 2nd edition rules or 3rd edition. I can't remember which edition he was using. So if you want stats for him, go to my Greyhawk articles section, look for the Old School Edition, and he converted a bunch of my stuff. It's amazing. But yeah, I guess Abid Alzim would count as one of mine. Then I steal a lot of name NPCs like that.
I was going to do something, and then I realized if I snip it, I will freeze the entire stream. So I'm not doing it. So I'll give you an example. There are things that are written and that are left up to you to advance on, right? Especially in From the Ashes. And From the Ashes, Anna talks about all these other mercenary adventuring groups. And it talks in very, very general terms. So we talk about, I'll give you the example that I wanted to pull up, but I can't find a snipped picture of the group in JPEG already, and I can't snip it or I'll crash everything. And that's Corellian's Arrows, right? Now, Corellian's Arrows is a group that, I may have it here, JPEG. Let me see if this works. Boom. Okay. I did have it. There we go. So Corellian's Arrows is loosely written up in the From the Ashes set, and all it says is that all of the multi-class characters, with the exception of the Druid Mage, who's the leader, can use a bow. So from there, and they're all multi-class. So from there, I developed the entire list of Corellian's Arrows names, what house they're from in Selene, whether gray elf or half elf, what sex, and the classes for my campaign. So they've all been interacted with and characters that are in the Iron Brigade and Greyhawk City, and there's 6 for you of the NPCs that I created up just generic, very, very nebulous discussions and use them as, because they're minor. So I like using the minor published sources over like Tensor, Mordenkainen. I like that they can interact with to give it like that real feel. Hey, they're in the From the Ashes box set. So that's an example for me. So
yeah, to kind of to add, make it more of a living world than just the iconic at the top. So
exactly,
yeah.
a little lesser.
Yeah.
A
Do you
little
include
lesser.
monsters that are named and given a personality as NPCs? So to speak in your project, meaning I make no distinction, meaning a troll that has a name or a personality, or a giant or whatever, then a ghost, meaning if they have a name and a place and part of the story, they're an NPC. So no matter what the race or the type of creature, so to speak, anything that is intelligent and can play part of the story, they're NPCs.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that, but just depends on. My problem is that, and a main difference between what John does at Blue Box, which is very, very cool. What I do is, John's players in Greyhawk all have one, at most 2 characters each, depending on if they've died or not yet. And my guys have 60 to 70 PCs over 41 years, and it kind of changes the game into a macro over a micro.
I was thinking, meaning NPCs, meaning a lot of in the term NPC, I include all the monsters that have names and have a part of the story, so to speak. So they are NPCs. And one example that I created for actually when the characters went to Temple of Elemental Evil just to check on it, to see that there was nothing foul going on and so on and so forth. So they were sent there just to make sure, take a peek and make sure that everything was quiet, because there have been rumors and people have been dead and then been killed and disappeared, and there was some scary things going on. I just wanted to fill out some between sessions, so between campaigns. So they went there and there I had a not too old, on the young side, shadow dragon that lived there, and I named her Richnell. And she had, because it was a nice place to hide out if you're a shadow dragon and you want to come from somewhere and realize that Flannies might hold possibilities. So she kind of moved in and was checking out the neighborhood and kind of liked the look and feel of the old temple that was kind of ruined and been sacked by adventurers multiple times. And so they came in and they realized something was there, and all of a sudden they turned it into a major adventure, and she was a huge villain. But instead of just trying to go outright and kill her, they realized, let's do use some cunning other things. So they tried to bribe her with various foods and stuff, and they cast a charm monster on her, and they rolled like a 20/20 or something like that. It was like used back then. So they were like overly successful, and they bribed her. So and then when she was not outright, she took the bait, so to speak, and realized that, oh, these creatures are giving me food and stuff, and I moved in. So she became cautiously interested, so to speak, and they played on it and used it. And then when some of the other ones came in and so on, that she actually fought on their side a bit, and then they kind of took each other's goodbye, and that was it. And then I never thought much about her. But then when I read I Use the Evil and stuff, I realized up in the Howling Hills there is a shadow dragon that has appeared. And so I realized that, oh, that's my Rishnil that has now grown a little bit, and she lives up in the Howling Hills. So she's Rishnil, and the shadow dragon that was charmed, and so she found that might be a more lucrative place to live. So I kind of tucked her in. I haven't used her since, but it's one of these characters that it was like 5 or 6 sessions or something I used her, and it was so much fun to have that shadow dragon Rishnil. So as a DM, I really fell in love with her. She was awesome fun to run, and she was kind of curious and became not a villain, but she was completely ruthless. But she actually kind of liked these these kind of characters that came and gave her food and stuff like that, and didn't want to kill her and was friendly, so they confused her. So she will have a little fond memory of that in all her hunting whatever up there, and now she lives up in the Howling Hills and want to because that was kind of a neat place.
Great thing is you can come back to her one day.
Exactly. So that's one of the NPCs that I keep in a back burner because I want to use her again. Sooner or later, I want to use her again for some reason.
And I have my back burners.
Okay.
Which I throw out once in a blue moon, and they are in Eye is the Evil. And I've talked about them a couple times, and I know I talked about them in the villains. And you know how much I love the mana because we expanded their whole territory, and that's the Free Reavers, right? The Free Reavers in the Horn. Oh, yes. Sharon Valinar is one of my favorite nasties of all time. I like her as much as I like Marquesa from Carlos because she likes carving the Sharon smile into everyone, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, she's a fighter of Erythnol, and she even threatens Ayu's priests when they show up at her door. So, yeah. I think that the Free Reavers is what the Ravagers were based on from the 3rd edition set. I really do. But that bloodthirstiness with the Erythnol. But, yeah, so... I keep her in the back pocket because occasionally she'll raid over into the Shieldlands just to cause trouble, like she did at the beginning of our Shieldlands campaign last year.
Yeah.
But they don't. I don't want her getting killed off. It's not one of those. She's like 14th level fighter. It should be hard to kill them off. It's kind of like Mistrine, right, Anna?
Yep.
I mean, you don't just go. You just don't walk into Mistrine's castle, Smokewall Castle, and kill them.
You want to keep them. So, and that's one of the things. Meaning, you want to keep them, but you still want to have them in the adventure, so to speak. But sooner or later, you need to kill a few NPCs. That's the thing. You need to
or kill off their
Pay
minions.
to the couple. Yeah.
But. Yeah, but they're good. I mean, they're good to have those high-level ones in your campaign and have them.
Yeah.
Like, I have Mistrine causing trouble in the Norwell area all the time, and, as they get higher level, that group, then I'll work out some of Mistrine's lesser minions to cause them trouble. So, Mike, what do you got next here as we keep on flowing through here?
Well, what do I have next? Let's see. Let's talk for a little bit. I was going to avoid wizards. I think this one's a wizard, though. Let's talk for a little bit about Countess Ballistica.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is an NPC, another NPC that I never needed to stat. Who would harm Countess Ballistica?
And she sounds like the most pure, well,
Countess
all the
of
evil
Ernst.
ones. Yeah.
She's
a house Gelder, right?
You're right, I believe so.
Yeah.
And she's like the most admired ruler in the Flannis, and and all this stuff. And this was, I don't even know how. Maybe it was me talking up this NPC, but one of my players, who's no longer with us, by the way, his character's whole goal in life was to court the Countess of Ernst.
That's
because I always said she was single and was rebuffing all these suitors, and he was like, well, I'm going to do this, and he fancied himself, this great, highly charismatic character, and I was like, okay, and we were playing 3rd edition at the time. I said, you winning her heart will be a target number 60. So before, if he rolls a 20, he needs statistics of plus 40. Well, in 3rd edition, you can do that. There are builds, and he did it. He did a build where he got plus 40 for his diplomacy. It was just it was a long series of him trying to win her over and just get me to say, okay, roll diplomacy. And, sooner he's going to roll a 20. But it was just hilarious that, the whole character's direction would go into like putting everything you got into diplomacy stats.
Yeah.
Just to accomplish this one thing. For an NPC that has no enemies and no religion or anything. It was such a weird subplot to everything.
Yeah.
that's my memory for that Countess Balliska. I don't even, I didn't even really have much about her except the Geller family and some minor noble intrigues that we did along the way. But this was an NPC that I don't even recall. In my Grok Wars, Ernst might have got overrun and whatever, but yeah, it was just a strange time.
So, talking about
yes.
Oh, but I think it's cool. And there's another Geller in the Gord books. One of Gord's fellow
His name
travel
is
mates.
Geller,
It's Lord Geller, and he's a bard.
yeah,
And always in their relationship, but he's a House Geller. He's always depicted House Geller, so he's a relative of Ballistica, and it's kind of it's interesting to see. That's one of the other.
I always
Gellers
used to joke because I was trying to get him to stop going after the Countess, and I'd be like, "Why don't you go after one of her sisters, Sarah and Michelle Geller?"
nice.
It's like, oh, geez.
Oh, but it's interesting to introduce stuff like that. It could be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's outside of the combative world.
Exactly.
The real life
want to-
stuff, kind of like
Yep.
the intrigue and the courting
Yep.
and all that.
Yeah.
So I want to bring up one, if it's okay now, that has crossed over into two and just show what we're doing here, trying to do John and I with campaign, and that is, you probably heard last night a lot of talk about Sir Harn, right? If you watched Blue Box last night, so, and Shorwin was basically a squire of Sir Harn when he started, for years. So just to show how long this is going on, and now that Anna taught me and Brian Bogot's taught me how to use heraldry, I'm thankful for it. So I made up Sir Harn's coat of arms, which you've probably seen on all of. Oh yeah. He's Sir Harn, Slayer of Linesy, the Black Dragon. He is the champion of the county of Ulick, a human cavalier. He's also a former champion of the Grand Joust of Altamira. So which everyone will see during GaryCon. But this character I've had for 30 plus years in my campaign, and he's always been there as a champion. And so I took that as an opportunity to tie in when Terry came into when John had a replacement. And Terry came in and he said, "How can I tie this into your campaign?" And I said, "Let's do it this way." So this character's always been an NPC in my campaign for all those years, and one of Walt's crazy female characters. Sorry for using the word crazy. Of course, had a relationship with Sir Harn. She had twins from Sir Harn, and then she left Sir Harn with the kids. So, he's brought up two half elven characters, and now they're adventurers. So that's how many years has gone by in my campaign. So I know Adriana and Norian and their player characters. So there's even that. There's relationships. There's all sorts of things going on, and you'll meet this. No, they're females. They're both females. What a fun time. But just note that that's kind of the way we've been trying to connect the campaigns and the lore for what we're doing by an NPC. An NPC attachment. So just wanted to bring that up. No, he was a very good father to them. Tim, he didn't leave. It was Lena. Tim. You remember, Lena. Yep. Mage Thief. So, all right. What do we got time-wise? Okay, we got about 15 minutes to discuss, and then we'll do shout-outs for some more here. So, who wants to bring up another one? I got one or two more, but go for it.
Let's see here what we have here.
I mean, we haven't really gone big time, but there's a ton and a lot of publications. I'm trying to stay away from Nemesis, right? But while you guys are thinking, Mike, you got one? Annie got one?
No, I was reading. So Doc Shoulder asks if any of our PCs killed another PC. I've had a lot of double crosses that were close to, so yes, perhaps. But this is all epic level stuff where you just got kind of bored of all the low level stuff and started fighting each other.
Yeah, I've had a couple of run-ins back in the day. One of the campaign against Ayus that were that were when he played one of my players that he played Galahad, a Nerul priest that was aspiring. He was in the
Cool.
Hierarch of Horn Society, so he was aspiring up. He was became a junior or mid-level hierarch, so to speak, and a priest of Nerul. And then one of his friends in real life, so to speak, a fellow player, or friends played a paladin, but the guy who played the priest of Nerul, he never mentioned that character be played in other places. So we kind of brought him in and he played it, and when he kind of shown afterwards halfway in that he was Pardonero, his friend killed his character or almost killed his character. So they had a big fight, so to speak, but then they basically ran off in opposite directions because they didn't want to kill each other's characters. But it was tense for several years after that in my campaign between those, and the guy who played the paladin, he never, I don't think he played much after that, so to speak. It was tough. Yeah, that was really so I don't recommend it one bit. So don't do it. It just leads to trouble usually, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Eric. Good to see you on, and good talking to you today. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Got one, Mike? Because I got one that I really.
Most of my ones I've jotted down are City Greyhawk types. I just want to briefly mention that Urag, another one of these old timey Gygax characters who kind of fit into the lore of the setting. Is this great fighter.
YRAG, correct?
Yes, YRAG. Old Gary backwards. And so, he's had all these exploits, Mark Castle, City Ground, or whatever, or Greg Ruins. I've used him in the webcomic I used to draw. But one of the most interesting things about him in the City Greyhawk box set, or maybe it's Greyhawk The Adventure Begins, is that he has this girlfriend named Karen Koffel, who works at one of the, I can't remember which tavern it is, but it's so you got this 44-year-old barmaid, and her boyfriend she doesn't know, he goes by a different name, I guess, but he's actually Urag, who is hundreds of years old, of course.
Yeah.
And so like I always like that, because like if you mess with her, well then her her boyfriend obviously can beat any fighter you got. Just a humorous little observation.
Absolutely. Do you know when he first appears? Urag? He's not. I don't know. He's not in the Rogues Gallery, I don't think.
He's in Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure.
He's in Morning. That's it. Mordenkainen's Fantastic Adventure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That again factors into a lot of the baseline lore, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Elevate and all that. Typical Karen.
So, one of my favorite developed NPCs from the Ashes that I love, and I've kind of claimed her for my own.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, and I use her actively in Narwhal because that's where she is, and that is the legendary Bladestorm, right?
Nice.
Bladestorm Headhunter, and she's right here on page 78. Doesn't follow certain, like, is one of those, and Anna was correct earlier, one of those, she's multi-class, but she's a priest of Tritherian and a ranger, which is kind of not allowed by with that class.
But NPCs goes by separate rules, so to speak, and seems to have gone in almost every edition. Yeah.
Yeah, but love the character, love the backstory, have incorporated it so that she is actually, I've used her as an NPC in a lot of adventures with the Iron Brigade and Brolin and Trevin out there in the Narwhal area and higher level, and it's fearless and is also the liaison to this new group that I have in Narwhal, her and Candace, who's an NPC, that if you play Her in the Hools, Candace is in here. And it says Stormblade. Thank you, Carlos. But he's cleansed it, but Candace is in this one, who's in Narwhal as well. And so just a great character idea with dancing weapons and mirror images, so it looks like she's got a storm of blades when she's fighting, and just a really cool, chaotic, good character that you can develop. And note I placed with Narwhal and her, and I placed multiple Troller Games adventures in that area. And a little quickie tidbit, I know that I've been talking with Chuck, and we're going to attempt to do a where do I place this Troller Games module in Greyhawk publication of some sort in 2021. Working on it, so that would be cool. That'll be something down the road for. I know Tim's got a couple he's going to place that go in with Night Below, and I'll have some, and then we're going to do a couple others as well. Where's Dullstrand located in Greyhawk? You want to take that up?
Dullstrand is, hang on a second here. It's on the
southeast
exactly
of the Sundee.
East.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be that port that belonged to Sundee back in the day, but became
Directly
independent.
across the water from the Lordship of the Isles.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a large town or small city that is now independent from living Greyhawk era. Then it's independent, so to speak. Once it's one of these kind of like Deck's Point up north is another one of these kind of leftover free little thingies along the coast.
So Rich, we can do that already.
Yeah,
so we got two of them we can do already. We can do this and Shadows of the Halfling Hall. I'll get with you on those.
There are some adventures from the Living Greyhawk era set in Dullstrand.
Cool.
Because there are some locations I got from some of the modules and stuff. So there are some adventures set in the area. Yep, and some locations there.
Yeah, there's some great stuff going on all over the place. Oh man, I hate when I do a laptop and I hit the pad that's and then it goes and it messes up everything. I hate that. So, all right, Anna, what do you got? You got a final one there?
Okay, so let's find. I want another one that I want to ask about, and that's Warduke. I remember from the Greyhawk Reborn group that when they awesome. So I'm not going to talk about him as an NPC, but a side note, that one that brought me up to getting like Warduke. What is that? Who is that? And that was when Greyhawk Reborn, when they incorporated so they could do Living Greyhawk living campaigns and stuff.
Yeah.
Then they called themselves Warduke Press. And I was asked to supply one of the examples for they asked for logos and stuff, and that's when they talked about Warduke, and I was so busy so I didn't even try to submit, but it's interesting. What do you guys know about Warduke?
Go ahead, Mike.
And Greyhawk and stuff.
Warduke, yes, was in the D&D cartoon. He was part of the D&D line of action figures. It was kind of weird. D&D TSR had certain toy rights, and like the comic or the cartoon was separate. It was like they couldn't make toys of the principal characters in the cartoon. That was strange enough. But some of the characters that they had toys of made cameos in the cartoon. So like Warduke, Kellic, and so it's very strange.
Yeah. And he has such an iconic. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, with that helmet, and so Warduke's just always kind of been around, just like this generic. I think he was even in. It might have been Rogue's Gallery.
Oh yeah, and he also in the art of D&D, there is a wonderful sketch of Warduke when he has the shield with the skull on it and his helmet with the bat wings and stuff. And in third edition is there's some awesome sketches of him standing on a bunch of ones with the big blade bloody and all that. So he's kind of one of the iconic characters in a way. Oh, there he is. Yep.
There's a Warduke.
Yep.
Cool. Is that plastic?
Yeah. I don't remember where I got that. Long time ago. And somehow it survived. But so Warduke's just always been one of those generic, evil villain characters, and then it took Eric Mona to then grasp him, set him in Greyhawk.
I know. Once again, there's another like there was with Evar. They did an article on him in the dungeons as well, right? They did a profile on Warduke as well,
and he's super badass.
Yeah. So Oh, that's cool.
So that was
Booger,
the
she got
one that I
That's
wanted
neat.
to have in the
Yes, there's a
discussion.
module.
Yep.
Now, what
Okay.
I want to know is, so Warduke has been sucked into Greyhawk. Where's Strongheart and all them other guys?
Right. Yeah, pick and choose your battles, right? Eric Mona always said that he had to pick and choose his battles. So that's another question for Ask the Experts.
Yeah.
Why did you bring Warduke in but not Strongheart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Very cool. So, what do you think? We covered a lot tonight, and remember, we had to ad hoc this in 2 days.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary. No, I'm just kidding. We wanted to go over some, and Gary was at a family birthday party, I believe, tonight, and he hasn't even been on, so I know he's running super late, so
Yep.
he may not even make an appearance at all tonight. But note that we got some. This is kind of good the way this fell out. I have every single talk show and stream between now and GaryCon planned. Everything's planned out between now and when we have that huge weekend for GaryCon. We have everything set. Now that this one went off, and that we got through this. So hopefully this we bounce around. We wanted to just talk about some and give you some ideas on. The great thing about Greyhawk is how many in all of the personality, all the books and personalities and NPCs are there. There's got to be 1,000, right?
Oh
There's
yeah.
gotta be. I mean, these Carl Sargent publications alone are loaded
They
with
have,
them.
yeah, each of them have like at least 100. Some of them, like,
Yeah.
even the Undying probably has more than 100 named ones in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a shame that it didn't make it to print publication, and it Asher has the only print copy in
Yeah, but at
existence.
least it's out there. So you can grab a PDF and print it out yourself if you want to. But it's not as good as a real printed product. But at
Right.
least we have all the information from it and even the maps. So yeah.
Very, very cool. So, well, why don't we do? I know it'll take a little bit, so why don't we do some shout out discussion here? See what's going on and what we got cranking. This is, like I said, 4 streams and 5 nights this week, everyone. So we got a lot going on the rest of the week.
Yeah.
A lot of great giveaways too. What do you see? This is just the first of many this whole week. I can't wait. So what do we got? Mike, what's going on?
Well, over at Hungry Hawkery, talking about NPCs. I have a new power group for you for my 2nd edition campaign, the High Ring. If you really want to piss off your players, use the High Ring. Because they will take all your players' magic items and then tell them what to do. Like, oh, you're a wizard, you work for us now. Just such a crazy time. But so I wrote them up. I think the post before that was a doozy too. I did an article on the Earth Dragon.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Yeah, so I was crazy enough to actually throw the Earth Dragon at my players. So if you want some 3rd edition stats on this demigod character, there you go. Check out Hungry Hawkery.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all that's going on with me.
No Sunday night game right now?
Yeah, Sunday night's weird. My friend's schedule changed and we might be going to Thursdays.
Okay.
And we're doing Descent into Avernus.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm playing in right now. I do have a campaign that I'm running like every so often whenever we can get together, and that's the one that I'm currently in, the Duchy of Ernst, and that one's getting interesting because it involves the Soul Gem and the Black Razor and all this really high level stuff.
Oh, Soul Gems, love it. Nice.
There you go.
Are we talking Soul Gem E's or Soul Gem from
the Soul
Ghost
Gem
Tower?
from Ghost Tower?
Ah,
Okay,
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice. That is a great adventure.
A lot of A lot of soul sucking going on.
Yeah, you didn't want to be that beam randomly hits you in that adventure. It was all over, folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't even know if you got to save. I don't think you got to save.
Yeah, it might
Yeah,
have
I don't
been
think you.
just a random.
Yeah. Oh, definitely was a great one. So, well, cool, Mike. That's awesome.
Soul Gem.
Soul
Yeah.
Gem.
Yeah.
Santa, what's up in your world?
Well, first we have my game that is now being ridiculed left and right. So no, I'm just kidding. But the game would never get anywhere. So this is like level. We're going to have like the 7th session, I think it is, on Sunday, and we have only had one fight. It was a big one that started last session, and that will be hopefully finished this coming session. They're still level 0. They hadn't make it outside of the town walls, basically. So they're still in the same town. They haven't got a single level yet, and they kind of, yeah, they're still stuck. But we've hopefully had fun. At least the players are still there and still playing with me after 6 sessions without getting anything more than a lot of game hours, so to speak. So but we kind of squeezing everything out of this little village, that's for sure, before we leave, so to speak. So that's coming up. But I have to warn my players, and I know that Nagoya Joe is on, at least, that I don't have that much more planned, because I have 2 weeks to get my stuff ready for GaryCon seminar. So most of my time will be devoted to that, because I have a lot of things that are quarterly baked or just a little bit, and I want to have at least a couple of cool things to show to show for the seminar. And I'm also going to post a kind of a plea for questions and stuff or talking points to my patrons. That's coming very soon, so my patrons get a first take on what kind of what they want me to talk about. And also I want to say that on Gabin and stuff, you can whisper the questions to me now in Twitch, and I'll
Okay.
sorry, yeah, I can go over and make sure that I try to bring as much of that as possible. That will be a big part of the seminar will be mapping technology, so to speak. I will kind of explain what I'm up to and what the new type of generation of Greyhawk maps, what they will look like, a little bit on how they work, and what's possible with them. And then there will be some ideas of future projects and some of the goals that I want to take, because now it's been an era of 20 years where we stared at the same Greyhawk map that I've done for 20 years, so to speak. And I want that end. I want that map to be replaced by something better. And I know that will take another 20 years to fully put that to sleep, so to speak. And it's but it will be a gradual thing, so to speak. And I also want it to be expanded upon and stuff. So there will be a lot of talk about that. And also I want to talk something about the principles of my mapping and how you go about visualizing a game world with Greyhawk as the example, so to speak, and some of the discussions and that I have with myself and others, and kind of the ideas, just like when you build an adventure or you build a campaign. How do you map a fantasy world that doesn't exist, so to speak? So I talked a little bit about that in blogs and stuff, but I want to have a little bit more discussion about that too. And I also want to take some time to talk about my campaign and a little bit about that too. So those will be the thing. But if there anything specific and stuff, or you can on Twitch, you can find me on Twitter and on Facebook and stuff like that to send me, or there's a contact thing on my webpage. So if you want something answered right away, then, or on the seminar and stuff, then you can reach out to me there. Yeah.
Note this. I have the Friday stream schedule up, and please note that I have, and I told Anna this, I've been thoroughly beaten and raked over the coals, as some of you know, by these guys. They have to do it their way. So this is what has happened here because of these. We can't have any conflicts because of the GaryCon Greyhawk schedule. Anna's event had to move off of GaryCon Greyhawk back to my channel because it won't fit. So note that that's why it says Twitch TV Lord Gazumba. That and the Greyhawk After Dark chats have to go there. But note, look at this day. I'm DMing Horton Rules Part 1. Thank you for the early sign up. I got on that already. This is all Central Time, 7 a.m. Then Wiley goes noon. Then working with Gary Gygax, Steven Chenault's at 4. Then Anna is at 6. And then Carlos is an hour later at 7. Then 9 is sold out already. Sorry, you can't get in that game already. So Carlos's game is already sold out. I know Alan Grohe was one of the lucky people to get a ticket. So, yeah, you were the first one of all of ours to sell out, Carlos. So congrats again. So when we get done, the Anna, the Lord Gazumba channel, will raid into the Gary Con Greyhawk channel and create a mega Carlos game that night, right? On that Gary Con Greyhawk channel. I'm hoping we have like 200 people watching. And then we'll have the After Dark chat. And then Armin in the middle of the night at 1 o'clock my time will start off his, he's already got signups for that, which is awesome. Out of New Zealand, so that just shows. But note that that's trying to explain. You won't also find Anna's on tabletop events, and you can't sign up for anything that doesn't have specific signups on there, like we did for Greyhawk Con. I just threw that on me, but they show in tabletop events. Just, I'm doing my best, everyone.
Yeah, but.
You know, Anna.
Have the events. Oh, yes.
The events are there.
You can have the events.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
we're having the events. We're having all the events. So, but note that Anna's is going to be fantastic, and everything else that's going on those days. And so, Anna, is there anything else you would like to shout out before I?
Not really.
Okay.
That was it, so to speak. So I'm going to work really hard for 2 weeks to get some presentation material and stuff like that, because it's and so have it. So I hope it will be worth to watch it. So yeah.
So sure, you can watch any of these on the stream. Everything on that schedule you can watch. That's everything, all the events. So, for example, some of the things that you wouldn't be able to participate in is, say, Alan Grohe's got 2 Legio 5 games, and if they were all filled and he's using them on his WebEx or whatever, you know that one's not being streamed anyway. It's just like a regular game that would be filled. But Carlos's game is streamed, so absolutely, so yes, that the answer to that is everything that's live streamed. And trust me, all of our seminars are live streamed. There's no exclusionary things here going up. So, you Canadian, you got in and got a ticket for the joust. Why would you? You're already in there. You're kidding me, right? Because you already are in the joust. If you unbuy that ticket, you already got one. You're kidding me, correct? Oh my gosh, Patrick, you don't need one. Let me see here. Table. You're kidding. You're joking, right? I will check it. So, note the following. Let me go over the schedule that we got coming up here. We have some unbelievable games and things coming up the rest of this week, and I will do that in a second here. You're kidding me, or no, you're not. So you don't need a ticket. You and Cannibal are in as guests. So yes. No, he doesn't, because I have open signups and I need 6 open signups. You don't need a ticket, so you can give the ticket back. You're already in. So all right. So tomorrow night we finished this adventure, Dangers in the Sus, and it's going as well as I expected. So when a brother asks a brother who's a little off and a necromancer asks you to do something for them, and then they follow him into the Sus and realize that he is not the most honest person in the world or equitable person in the world, bad things are going to happen, and that's what's going on. All sorts of chaos is going on right now in this adventure, and I'm actually kind of worried that I may have a rare party wipe here. It's possible, so because they're in trouble. They're fighting wereboars and were-tigresses. They're nasty, and they're fighting a crazy. I use that word again. I shouldn't. They're fighting a deranged. Is that even priestess of Ouija trying to summon an ancient Sulwese power, and it's gotten messed up now. So yes, and they also there's an Avenger who's with them fighting, and it's nasty. We'll see. Tomorrow night is the big quarterly giveaway. Miniature Building Authority, $75 gift certificate. And a 25, and that happens once a quarter, and so that's a big one tomorrow night from my first ever sponsor, Miniature Building Authority, and that is a fun one tomorrow night. And then I'm off on Friday, but then Saturday we have our wonderful Living Greyhawk All-Stars event. And that starts at 6 Eastern. And note, this is one of my Saturday night specials. So we have the great Eric Mengi, Anna, Casey, Sholem West, David Quick, and the fantastic artist Jose Ortiz.
Yes.
Now, Tony Winslow Brill is joining this group, but she has a conflict and can't play tomorrow night, unfortunately. So, I'll deal with it, Patrick, as soon as I'm offline here. So, yes, so that's what we have. We have that group, and it's a wonderful, wonderful group. And Recovery in the Mist Marsh, it starts in Greyhawk, and it goes through an NPC, that Katrine Petrovsky in my campaign, that it doesn't exist in canon. And then I love the way this is going to go. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be, because I like to throw in those little twists. So that'll be on, by the way, that'll be the stratagem that I showed these on Sunday, the brand new stratagem product I got, the King's Coffers giveaways. I'm probably giving away 2 of these. These are $40 on Amazon. It's a great pouch of 5 different, the coins are copper, electrum, silver, gold, and platinum in this. These are by my second ever sponsor, Stratagem, a brand new product. And I got a bunch of them. So, yes. Aren't they cool? And maybe Judy. All right. Well, Judy hops on last second. It's okay. It's okay, Casey. I got her character who's dual class now. She surpassed her thief now in Paladin, so she's 5'6". Sunday night. Sunday night, Carlos, if you're still on, what a wonderful gabbing this is going to be. Yeah. I don't see it here, so I'm going to have to find it. No, just the here it is. All right, so here it is. Very special guest, Carlos Lysing, creating Greyhawk content. So we're going to discuss not only where Carlos has placed adventures, but his thought process and how he developed them and why he placed them where he did. So I think it's a great way so that all of you can decide about your homebrews from an author, a published author, why he's doing what he's doing, and maybe that'll help all of you to create your own Greyhawk content. And of course, we'll discuss this too, because it's my only published content for a module right now. So, and Carlos has got 20 some, so we'll do that on Sunday, and we'll have some great giveaways on Sunday night as well. Next week's Legends and Lore is going to be awesome. Women of Living Greyhawk. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of the triads. Not all of them have been on before. Tony was on with Ed Greenwood, but she's coming for this. Is Judy coming on this? Casey, Susan Threadgill. We'll have a whole crew, and they're going to discuss their experiences in Living Greyhawk from the female perspective. I think that'll be a cool one. All right, great. So I'm looking forward to this one. And that'll be a week from tonight. Yes. And that is why we could not have Gary on that night. We had to push Gary back 2 weeks for everything about the Isle of Dread episode 92. This is the day before GaryCon starts. So, and he's got great handouts for it, and looking forward to Tony, Denise, Judy, Susan. What a great lineup that is, Casey. And Casey, of course, will be on too. He's the de facto, he's an honorary woman. So for that, and that'll be a great. And he's got a custom giveaway for everyone for this that he's been working on. And then the last event I want to discuss is the big gabbin I have the Sunday before GaryCon, and that is GaryCon 13 preview with Luke Gygax and Stefan Picorni. All right. And I'm looking forward to this one. What a great show that'll be. I will probably have Luke on for the first hour and Stefan on for the second hour. So note that they both are excited about coming on, and we'll talk about, yes, thank you, Eric. They'll really talk about their experiences. Luke is, we'll get Luke to talk about a lot of different things. And then Stefan, I produced Stefan's game last year, if you all remember, but Stefan, I don't have to do it this year, but it'll be very cool. That discussion is Sunday, the March 21st. And we'll go over all the more, the GaryCon events a little bit more in its entirety, and we'll have a lot of other things going on. But let's do the giveaways now, shall we? Now, you got to be on to claim it. If you're lurking, and you're a subscriber, I have no problem with that, because, you got to keep the subscribers happy. But also note that first person can decide if they want the Troller Games or the Cobalt Press $25 gift certificate. All right, so let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Cool, Ryan. Good to see you, man. And I'm just last call if anyone wants to sign up, please. I'll give you 10 seconds. Because Jay's going to hit the wrong button, and like I always do, and no, I don't want to crash it. Yes, you want the Disney picture, but I'm not giving that away, Ryan. That's a mistake. But
it's exclamation point drawing.
it's exclamation point drawings. It's exclamation point drawing. So go for it. I'll let you do that. Exclamation point drawing. Type exclamation drawing. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Ryan, let's just see what happens. You ready? Closing it out. First winner. Kai Brightwing.
Hi.
There you go, Kai. Which one do you want, Kai?
Nice.
Let me know. Let me just see if Kai is on. And if Kai is Kai on?
Yes, here,
Kai.
present.
All right, Kai, what do you want, man? Your choice. Troller Games or Kobold. Oh, by the way, we're going to raid into Wicked Studios, so please sit tight for that. Which one do you want, Kai? Troller Games or Wicked, or listen to me, or Kobold Press? Kobold Press. Okay, Kai.
Okay.
No problem.
Cool.
All right, Kai, you probably have given it to me, but I need your email that is attached to your Cobalt Press account. If you don't have one, the email you give me is the one you got to sign up for Cobalt Press, okay? All right, I figured out how to issue these finally. So, and now here comes the second winner. This one gets Troller Games $25 gift certificate. And then sit in tight, and we're going to raid into Wicked. And the winner is Casey Brown himself. Oh, Draco. That is funny.
Yep.
Oh, Casey.
Jeez.
That's okay. He's eligible. There you go.
Called it.
Wonderful. I will get those out to you ASAP, probably tonight. Both of you. And like I said, Kai, just whisper me the email that you use. Okay. So thank you all for another wonderful show. Mike, Anna, thank you. Like I said, we'll see you all. I'm going to be on a lot this weekend. Just only night I have off is Friday, so we're going to crank it through. See you tomorrow night. If you want to see some death, come on tomorrow night. It's going to be a blast. All right, have a good one. Thank you. Hit the right button, Jay. Let's raid into Will. Raid! Oh, don't mess us up. Raid, Wicked. There we go. Yeah, oh, you're all welcome. That was fun. Oh, look at that. Getting it up. 61. Good number. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. Sure it worked. I think it did.
60.
Yeah, 60 is good. Remember in the old days we would get like 25?